Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to another episode of Lingua Nerd. Today I'm very happy because we do have very young girl with us having massive accomplishment in her life. Recently she has published a book and for the same reason I have invited her today. The best thing about her is that she is having the same sort of a background the way we do have in terms of language and literature field. So currently she is working as an ESL and IELTS trainer with very good institute based in Islamabad. So today we are going to have an idea about her educational background. We are going to talk about so many things related to her childhood, which has a lot of different transitions from one country to other country as well. And then we are going to ask her that how is it even possible to write an amazing book in such a young age and then going through the publishing process. Finally, she has published it as well. So, Kalsoom, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very happy today, to be very honest, because I believe somehow in my extreme young age, I also wanted to be a writer. But I think it takes courage as well. And I believe it sometimes I believe it has an innate quality as well. And sometimes I feel like you have to put a lot of effort in it. In your case, what do you think? So how come it came in your mind that, okay, I can be a good writer and I can write?
I feel like I was one of those who have this sort of like an innate calling to write.
Okay.
As long as I can remember, I've always written. Ever since I learned English language and I learned how to hold a pencil, I can remember that I always wrote. And I had this habit of writing a journal.
Do you have that inheritance like कि आपके parents में से या grandparents में से people were writers?
Yeah, definitely. I come from a family of writers and poets. My Dada Bu, he's a poet, and my brother, he's one as well. My father has always been in the media industry. He's always written. He's a producer and he's a filmmaker as well. So, and my Nana Bu, he studied literature and like so many people in my family studied literature, like the elders. So I come from that sort of a background. So I always had it in me, I always wanted to write. As I grew up and with the age, I learned more. My expression got better, I guess. So that's how like my writing journey began. It was never a decision for me. It was just something that I did.
That you have to take.
That was just something that I did. Like
exactly.
Like I wake up. It was something like that.
How was your childhood?
My childhood was really different. It was exciting. And now that I look back at it, I feel like it was sort of scary, but I never realized that at that time. Like, I was born in Pakistan.
Okay.
But then when I was really little, I moved to Tokyo with my family.
Okay.
And I began my schooling over there in YMCA. I still am in contact with my first English teachers.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And I still, message them and all that, we talk, and they still know what I'm doing. So it's really nice. With that regard, like my childhood was so like, it was amazing, because I had the best teachers and I had the best schooling and everything, the best environment. I was in this really modern country and everything was so beautiful over there, So, it was really good. But then by the time I was like 7, I made the decision of moving back to Pakistan. Like my siblings.
Do you think so that a girl who is just 7 years old can make this massive decision?
Now that I think about it, it was something really big. Actually, both my parents, they've always given us the liberty to choose for ourselves.
Okay.
They always tell us to, like, jo bhi karna hai, do it yourself and learn from it. Learn from the experience.
Okay.
So when I was like such a baby at the age of 7, my mom, she wanted to like keep me in Tokyo with her.
Okay.
And my papa was like, whatever you choose, do you want to go with your siblings or do you want to stay here? And at that time, I thought I shouldn't. It's okay to live without mom and papa, but it's never good to live away from your siblings because then you...
Whatever you were saying, it's a kind of big thing to say.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like by the end of the day, if somebody's going to ask me that, not only me, मेरे ख्याल में किसी से भी ये सवाल पूछेंगे कि आपने पेरेंट्स या बहन भाइयों में से किसी एक को चूज करना है, they are going to choose their parents.
Actually, अभी अगर मुझसे
हाँ.
पूछा जाए ना तो
हम्म.
I would choose my mom,
Okay.
obviously. लेकिन उस time पे I felt like we're growing up.
Exactly.
And my brother, he's the eldest, and I'm the
Mhm.
youngest, and we've got like 4 years of age difference.
Okay.
So it's not a lot.
Mhm.
So I felt like if we stay in completely different countries, we
Mhm.
would grow up to be such different people, and we would
Exactly.
never relate in life.
Mhm.
So us time pe I feel like
Might be you
yeah.
had a very great bond with your parents, siblings as well.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, we never fight.
Okay.
And yeah, we're really
Is it
tight.
the same bond like till now?
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
I've been separated from my brother
Mhm.
for like a decade now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is he now?
He's in the US.
Okay.
While I was in my A levels, he
Mhm.
left for the US
Okay.
for like higher education.
Mhm.
And after that, we met after like I think 6 years.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I've had a very rocky life. Like a lot of ups and downs, a lot of transitions from here and
Mhm.
there, you know, from being with my siblings without my parents to
Mhm.
being with my parents without my siblings.
Okay.
And then being all alone as well at some point.
Mhm.
So इसी तरह ही
ठीक है.
है बड़े हो गए.
Okay, talking about your book,
Yeah.
when did it come in your mind that okay, now I am ready to write down a book? And like when exactly you started writing it down?
When I was in my A levels,
Mhm.
my papa read
Mhm.
one of my pieces and he was really impressed. And he was like, "You write well." Matlab, he liked it. And he always saw me with a book, you know. I'm always reading. So he was like, "You write well. You're always reading.
Mhm.
You should have one of your own books.
Exactly.
You know, I want to
Mhm.
see your name on a shelf."
Mhm.
And he always like, you know, pushed me to write a book. You know, you
Mhm.
should write a book. And yeah, so then I decided it was winters.
Mhm.
I remember. And I picked up my pencil and, you know, paper. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to start writing a book.
Mhm.
And उस time पे I sat down and it just came to me sort of this whole story and the characters and everything. And I drafted the entire book in like one sitting.
Okay.
It wasn't like it is I'm writing chapter by chapter. It was just like a skeleton. Okay? That these are the characters. This is what happens, and then this is what happens. And
What was the motivation?
I was living in Pakistan at the time, but I had come back from a foreign country. You know, मतलब मेरा बचपन शुरू ही वहाँ से हुआ था. So like even when I came back to Pakistan, I had that sort of like, you know, foreign thing in my head.
Okay.
And I was consuming a lot of classic literature, English literature. I was reading a lot of Hardy and Austen and people like those. So whatever I was consuming at the time, I could relate with. Instead of relating with, you know, the Asian culture and or like, you know, Pakistan and Pakistani names and yeah.
Okay.
So that's sort of like that was my inspiration. You know, I wanted to set my book and I wanted to express myself in that setting of, you know, the English suburbs and the late 1800s and that sort of a vibe. Yeah.
Fine. It does not have any sort of influence from Urdu literature, like
not at all, because if I'm being honest, like, don't come after me.
Okay. Have you read like Urdu literature?
No, that's what I was getting at.
No, I think like if I talk about English literature, I have seen so many people that they are good in both the literature. They do read Urdu literature as well.
Yeah, definitely, yes. And I want to read Urdu literature. It's just that I've never gotten the chance. Yeah.
Okay. Might be in Pakistan, I believe we don't talk about Urdu literature.
Yes, that's one of the things. Or just like it's all about languages with me, you know. Like my family and I, we're really big on languages.
Okay.
My mom can speak like, you know, Japanese. My mom can speak English and
can you speak Japanese?
And just a tiny bit. And my papa, he could speak like all Pakistani languages. And my brother, he's fluent in German, and my sister in Chinese. I've learned Russian. So like we're big on languages.
Okay,
yeah. So with me, it's always been English.
Okay.
I really find myself at home with English language. My brother, he is a poet, but he's an Urdu poet.
Okay.
Yeah. and इस तरह के वो words use करता है in his poetry, like we're like तुमने कब सीखे? Because we never like saw you reading all of this stuff, and he just it just comes from within. It's like he knows all these words, and same goes for me with the English. Even if I haven't like looked at it in a dictionary, the word is just within, and it would just come from within.
So most of the time people have this idea कि अगर आप एक राइटर बनना चाह रहे हैं तो आपको बड़ा सेंसिटिव होना चाहिए. मैंने खुद भी देखा है वो लोग जो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आई हैव सीन पीपल जो बेशक उर्दू लिटरेचर लिख रहे हैं, इंग्लिश लिटरेचर लिख रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं वो बड़े हसास होते हैं. माइट बी दे ऑब्जर्व थिंग्स अ लॉट. ठीक है, क्योंकि हम देख सकते हैं कि लाइक आउट ऑफ सो मेनी पीपल इन पाकिस्तान कितने सारे लोग राइटर्स बनते हैं, बहुत कम लोग. और आपकी एज में तो मेरे ख्याल में बहुत ही ज्यादा कम. क्योंकि हम जब तक हम वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप कर रहे होते हैं कि हम राइटर बन सकते हैं, या तो वक्त बहुत गुजर चुका था या फिर हम किसी और मसरूफियत में लाइक आ जाते हैं. आपको क्या लगता है कि if somebody really wants to be a writer, what kind of things that person needs to have in his personality?
Observant, obviously. You have to be really observant and sensitive. With writing, you have to bleed yourself out on paper.
Exactly.
I even talked about this. We talked about this before as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, you have to really put yourself out on paper.
Exactly.
You have to,
filter nahi kar sakte aap.
Yes, you can't. You have to be vulnerable. You have to show yourself and expose yourself. Okay? And you can only expose yourself when you've got something to expose.
Exactly.
And if you're not observant and you're not sensitive to emotions, so obviously you won't have a lot in you, inside of yourself to to show the world. So that is one of the things, being sensitive and observant and having the ability to speak up.
Okay.
I feel like there are a lot of people who are really sensitive, but they keep it inside, and they haven't got the ability to expose themselves. So you have to have that courage. You have to have the courage to be vulnerable in front of people. You have to be brave in order to be a writer.
And who is going to help you out in that? In your case, who helped you?
I've never been a very introvert kind of a person. Yeah. Whatever I felt like, I talked about it. And I feel like my family has been such an asset for me because they've always given me space to speak up. My papa especially, he knew everything about my life. Like things that a Pakistani father wouldn't even like to know. He knew about those.
Okay.
Yeah, so I talked about like everything with my papa from the very beginning, and my mom as well. And all of us 3 siblings have been that way shuru se na. So we've had that safe space to express ourselves. So wo cheez transitioned into my writing as well. Whenever I pick up a pen, I know what to express because I have that space. I'm not afraid. I have the courage to be vulnerable, and I think it's the most important thing to have in life.
To have in your life that someone is there to listen to you.
Yes, and you yourself have the ability to be vulnerable. You have to be brave enough. I see so many people, they're so afraid
to talk about their
to
life
talk
and all
about
that.
anything, to show themselves, to expose themselves.
Might be because we don't have quality people with us.
Yes,
This
maybe.
could be a reason.
Yeah, maybe, and life's experiences as well. Obviously,
It does.
they shut you up even, So that happens.
Yeah.
So
who read your first chapter when you read it? Like first chapter, first draft, whatever it is.
I didn't let anyone read it.
Okay.
Till the very end. A few of the people, beach mein, I let slip a few chapters.
Okay, fine. I got it.
Yeah,
Fine.
kuch cheezein like I wanted how people would react to it.
Okay.
Like there was this friend. Actually, she wasn't really a friend. I was teaching this one student.
Okay, fine.
And it was his elder sister, and she was sort of like my friend.
Okay.
And she was a reader, an avid reader. She used to read like English literature and all that. So I wanted to see like how my words would tickle her fancy. So I just let slip a few chapters. I was like, read these, let me know.
Yeah.
And when she was reading, like she was sitting in front of me and she was getting so eager to like read ahead, and she was literally like jumping up on the chair, and then she was putting her legs down, and she was like all sorts of emotions.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe थोड़ी जरा हो ना मैंने वो शरारती वाले chapters दिया.
Okay, fine. Okay. Is it a love story?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Why love story? Like, why did you start your literature with love story? Do you think so? We read love stories more than like other
Oh,
literature?
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Love stories are definitely more popular than any other sort of stories.
Influenced by modern literature or the like classical
The
literature?
classical.
Classical.
Yeah. And I'm a very sensitive and a very extremely emotional person. And love is one of the emotions that's like brimming in me.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was just something that came naturally to me. Even when I was writing the book, the chapters where I had to write about, other emotions like sad things, and I was finding it really hard to write because I'm a happy person, or at least I like to be.
Like it is not influenced from your personal life.
No, I was so young at the time.
Okay, fine.
I was so young at the time.
Don't you think so love happens in a very young age?
But yes, obviously you meet people and you fancy yourself to be in love.
Exactly.
But most of the times, I don't think it turns out to be love at that age.
Okay.
It's friendship.
Okay.
And love is something that you grow up to learn, to do.
Exactly.
It doesn't come naturally. I feel like you have to learn how to
be
love.
A good lover and
how to love, basically.
Exactly. But I think we do emphasize on this thing a lot, that I want to fall in love, but we are not ready to be a good lover by then.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think this is what which you like understand with age and maturity as well.
Yeah.
If I talk about this book, what kind of ending it does have?
It's a good ending.
It's a good ending.
Yeah.
Thank God. I mean, that means if people are going to read it, they are not going to be very sad.
It's sort of like a 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah. Like it ends on a good note.
Okay.
But with a tinge. So yeah.
Fine. Okay. So after reading that, like once your friend has read it, what was her opinion?
She was really eager to read ahead, and she was like, give me more chapters.
Okay.
And I was like, I have to finish it first.
Okay, fine.
So yeah, I wrote it and then I just completely forgot about it, basically, because I got so busy with life. There were so many things happening in my personal life that I never got the chance to, think about getting my work published or just think about anything outside of whatever was happening at the time. It took me like a really long time to get to this point where I feel that I'm free enough to think about myself, to get my work published. So many things happen in between. I think it had to happen in order for me to be at this point in my life where, I can
publish it.
Yeah, publish it.
Tell me the duration of that break.
I was in my A-levels at the time. So it took me like almost 7-8 years.
7-8 years.
Yeah, I got done with my bachelor's. I almost got through with my MPhil.
So did you make any changes?
Just I polished up on my sentence structure a little bit.
The story is same.
The story remains the same, yeah.
Yeah. Like with age, it didn't change?
No, it didn't. I didn't feel like it needed a change. Yeah, it was well knit.
Okay, if I ask you, because now you have published it and people are going to purchase it and going to read it as well, what kind of people should read this book?
Definitely those who are into classical literature. Those influenced by Austen would really like it.
Okay.
I feel like women would really enjoy the book as opposed to men. That's something. Because men in Pakistan, I feel like they don't usually go for love stories. They run away.
Okay, fine.
From
And
love.
what do you think? So, how did it come in your mind that men should not read this book? Like,
They should. They should read it.
Mhm.
They would learn so much.
they will? Okay, I think they need to learn
Yeah,
how to fall in
yeah,
love.
yeah. And how to be good men.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think men really go for Jane Austen a lot. You know,
Mhm.
I don't think men go for Hardy a lot.
Okay.
You know, so because it's got sort of like that vibe,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I feel like women would enjoy it more, as opposed to men. Yeah.
The male character you have in the book, what kind of personality?
There are 2 male characters
Okay.
in the book, yeah, and they're quite opposite to each other. One of them is that, you know, cliche hero, the guy you would want to fall in love with, you know, the fancy kind.
Everyone has in his in her mind.
Yeah, the one who gives you butterflies and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then lights those butterflies on fire by the end.
Okay, so you can say that the one personality is like very nice to like show, and the other one is not that nice.
They're both nice, but it's all about not being so selfish, basically. It's all about fighting your inner demons.
Okay.
Yeah. One is good at it, the other isn't as much.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Tell about the title. Why this?
Wanderers. Yeah. The title is something I had to really think about. So, the characters in this book are all people who are in love, and yet they don't have a home for their love. They're just wandering, you know. So the book is all about wandering hearts.
Okay.
You know, everyone's in love, but they're trying to find a place for themselves.
Okay.
So the title, you know, I feel like is apt for that.
Have they found any sort of home by the end?
Yes.
Okay.
Some do, some don't.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it happens in our real life as well, I believe.
Yes, definitely.
So? Can we relate it with our real life?
Oh my God, yes. बहुत ज़्यादा, मतलब 100%.
I think I will suggest everyone to read this book.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being the part of my podcast. I believe that this is what that we really want to bring on the platform. We really want to tell people कि हमारे पास कितने सारे अच्छे लोग हैं. And I really, for the very first time when I got to know about the book, I was very excited, to be very honest.
Oh, thank you.
क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है there were so many things that I could have related with my extreme young age. There was the time that I wanted to be a writer. Not now, because I feel like now this idea has become, has gone somewhere. Thank you so much for being the part of this podcast. And
thank you so much for having me.
Okay, you're always welcome. I would say that keep coming.
Yes,
be the part of our podcast. And I really would recommend people to read this book.
Thank you.
Because I was very excited and I'm very, you can say, happy about it as well. That in such a very young age, you have written a good book. Any other thing that you want to add in by the end?
Thank you so much for having me. I had a really great time talking to you and I would love to be back. And thank you so much for your kind words. I just hope that people like my book and enjoy this podcast as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. In the next episode, we are going to have more guests and definitely we're going to talk about more exciting things related to literature and language. Till then, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode.